Upstanding for the Chair of Council. Thank you. Apologies. Can I just ask everyone to take their seats for a minute, please? Thank you. Please be upstanding for the Chair of Council. Thank you. Please take your seats. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to welcome the Mayor, all members, and members of the public town hall. Before we start the formal item on the agenda this evening for annual council meeting, I invite the Mayor to say a few words in relation to the tragic death of Mikhail Jibril Alim. And I ask that I invite the Mayor to say a few words in relation to the Ali Mikhail Jibril, the tragic death of him.
Thank you very much, Chair. Colleagues, guests, we meet this evening for our annual council meeting 2024, an occasion where ordinarily and normally we'd celebrate our achievements as a council and set out our plans as we look to the municipal year ahead. Before that, and I must say, all of the statements this evening will be done with a deep ache in our hearts and in a somber mood. I welcome everyone standing for a minute's silence in the shadow of 5-year-old Alim Mikhail Jibril, who a week ago last Thursday tragically lost his life. So I'll pass back to the Chair and I'll say a few words in my announcement later this evening. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mayor Luxon Affairs. I now ask that all who can to please stand for a minute's silence in memory of Ali Mikhail Jibril. Thank you. I now ask Councillor Zulfikar Ali to recite a verse from Holy Quran in memory of Ali Mikhail Jibril.
Thank you, Chair. Clearly, our deep condolences are with the family, and the sudden loss of a young child is immensely unforgettable and very, very difficult for family to cope. In Islam, there's a dua, a prayer for deceased, and that is Allahumma gfir li hayyina wa mayyitina wa shahidina wa ghahibina wa saghirina wa kabirina wa zakarina wa unsana. Allahumma man ahyaytu minna fa ahyi al-Islam wa man tawaffaytahu minna wa tawaffal al-iman. I'll translate that briefly for you. It says, "Oh Allah, forgive the deceased, give him the best of the life hereafter, forgive his sins, whether he's an old, whether he's a young, whether he's a male, or whether he's a female. And whoever you keep alive, keep us alive with good faith. And when you cause us to die, keep us in the state of Iman, and that is the belief." And when a young person dies, it is indeed a very, very sad thing. And usually, there is a dua in addition to the standard dua that I have recited. And that is that it is difficult for family, for parents to cope with the loss. And we always pray that even though this loss is something that they will never forget, we pray to Allah Almighty that He bless them with something even better than that. Because we believe that whatever happens in our life, there is always something better. So we pray that Allah replace this young child who have lost his life in this sudden tragedy with something even better. Give them patience, give them ability to cope, and lead their life in a way that will enable them to bear the suffering. And also, it is true that if a young child dies, he is sin-free, completely. And it is a belief in Islam that if a child dies in that age, he will be able to take his parents to the paradise. And I think that is a blessing too. But I know it's difficult. So thank you, Madam Chair, for giving me the opportunity to say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Zulfikar Ali. I would like to thank Thrayon cellist for playing here tonight. Please give Thrayon a round of applause. Thank you. I now formally open the annual council meeting. We will now turn our attention to the agenda for tonight. Thank you for attending this special event. Tonight we elect a new chair and deputy chair of the council and appoint councillors to serve the various council committees for the 2024-2025 municipal year. I would like to welcome everyone to the meeting. The meeting is being filmed for broadcast on YouTube. Please note that the cameras may capture anyone within the meeting. With regards to the meeting etiquette at previous council meetings, unfortunately, we have had interruptions from the public gallery in the attendance. I would like to take this opportunity to remind the public that to enable the council to conduct its business, if there are any interruption at today's meeting, I will ask the individual or individuals to stop and give a warning. If this continues, I will give a second and final warning. And should the disruption continue, I will ask the security to remove the person or group from the council chamber and will adjourn the meeting. Please, can I ask members and officers to introduce themselves when speaking? I would like to ask everyone turn their mobile phone off or to silent mode. We are not expecting a fire drill this evening, so if the alarm sounds, please remain calm and follow the instruction of the town hall staff. The fire assembly point is the car parked behind the town hall, accessed by the Western Lane. I now ask the Chief Executive Abi Bago start the formal business of the meeting by seeking nomination for the election of the Chair of Council for the to 2025 municipal year.
Thank you, Councillor Rahman. Thank you. I now move to the agenda item 1, election of the chair. I invite nominations for the office of Chair of Council for the 2024-2025 municipal year.
Thank you, Abby. I would like to propose that we re-elect Councillor Rahman for the next municipal year. It's been a great pleasure to serve with Rahima in my ward colleague over the last 2 years. She has served this chamber with distinction during the last year. Sadly, we haven't been able to appreciate all her skills for the full year because we lost her for a little while, but that was great news for her because we lost her on maternity leave to have her first child. So congratulations to her and Councillor Muzibur Rahman. I'm delighted that Baby Arman is here with us tonight. He too has a great line in natty headgear, like his mother does this evening, sadly not wearing it. Don't worry, Councillor Vaughan, you're still my favourite hat wearer in council. But she has served with distinction. She has a long-standing record of public service, both in this chamber but in the community, as a councillor for the second time but also the first time, but also working with women's groups and in the community and fostering over time 34 children, a skill which is very useful in this chamber with wayward councillors. I can see you laughing, Councillor Higgins. I wasn't going to point out a place, but you know, sometimes people reveal themselves. But she's very good at keeping order and control. But I think that shows her commitment to public service and a very good job she did as a foster mother. I know several of the grown-up ones have been out canvassing for me, and that's always a good sign of good education. So I would very much like to propose that we re-elect Councillor Rahima Rahman for the municipal year 2024-25 to serve as Chair of Council and First Citizen of the London Borough of Newham.
Thank you, Councillor Assa. Is that seconded? Thank you. Are there any... Oops.
Good evening, everyone. I'm pleased to second Councillor Rahima Rahman's nomination for the Chair of the Council and First Citizen of the Borough for this municipal year 2024-2025. I have known Councillor Rahman since her election in 2006 for Green Street East Ward. She has deep connection with the community and has worked tirelessly to support the local residents in many ways. I'm sure you all will agree with me that she has been a fantastic chair and she has chaired the council meetings with diligence and integrity. Besides being on maternity leave and delivering her baby boy, she has still managed to maintain the two roles with utmost grace and dignity. So congratulations to Councillor Rahima Rahman for the birth of her son, Aman. She has also managed to attend many events to represent Newham and very well respected by the other mayors of other boroughs. She has taken her responsibilities very seriously, and I'm certain that she has made a significant positive impact as the chair and first citizen of the borough. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Joy Laguda. Are there any further nominations? Nope. I would normally at this point move to elect, but I think it will be quite an important moment for me to go to the vote anyway, because I know it's being recorded for her family, just so that she can see. So can I ask for those who are for? Thank you. Those who are against? Those who abstain? I move that Councillor Rahima Rahman be elected Chair of Council for the 2024-2025 municipal year. Come through, Councillor Rahman.
I, Councillor Rahima Rahman, having been elected to the office of Chair of Council, hereby declare that I take the said office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfill the duties according to the best of my judgment and ability. Good evening, all. As I stand before you this evening as the re-elected Chair of Neeham Council, I am once again deeply honored and humbled to serve this extraordinary community. A warm welcome to all of our distinguished guests here tonight. Reflecting that the past year, I am filled with gratitude for the unwavering support and dedication of our council staff and the pioneering leadership of our Executive Mayor, Rukhsana Fiaz. I would like to thank Abby Bagger, the Chief Executive, for her support since she started work in September. I would also like to thank Monitoring Officer Satish Mistry and his staff for guidance and support throughout some difficult council meetings. I would like to thank Councillor Joy Laguda, the former chair of the council's civic ambassador, who has been a role model for many of us. I also want to express my deepest appreciation to Councillor James Arthur, my co-colleague, the Statutory Deputy Mayor of Neeham, for this continued support and guidance. I would like to thank my outgoing Deputy Chair of Council, Councillor Salim Patel, for his support and contribution for the past municipal year. To all my council colleagues, thank you for your unwavering support and thank you for your continued trust in my ability to lead. I remain committed, tirelessly serving our residents. I'm grateful to our residents of Neeham. Thank you for entrusting me with this important post once again. I look forward to building on our achievements and working with all of you to create a community we can all be proud of. Transparency and accountability will continue to be the guiding principle of my tenure. I pledged to uphold the highest standards of integrity and impartiality, fostering collaboration among all council members, including all minority groups, to ensure that every voice is heard and valued. I wanted to thank the minority groups for supporting me during my past year. I want to express my sincere appreciation to my family, friends, and colleagues for their support and encouragement. Your beliefs in me has been a constant source of strength and motivation throughout my journey. I am especially grateful to my husband for his support this past municipal year. Now I have additional support from my son, Arman Rahman, the youngest consort of mine, who is here tonight. In conclusion, I am honored to serve Neeham for another term as the chair of the council. I'm thrilled and continue representing our most vibrant and diverse borough in the country. Thank you so much, everyone, for supporting me. I'm now moving to item 2, election of deputy chair. I should now like to invite nomination for the office of deputy chair of council for the 2024 to 2025 municipal year. Councillor Lakmanisha. Do I have a nomination?
Good evening. I would like to formally nominate Councillor Imam Haq for the position of Deputy Chair for the municipal year 2024-2025. Councillor Haq has served as a councillor for the past 2 years. During this time, I have had the privilege of working closely with him on initiatives focused on crime prevention, addressing antisocial behavior, promoting equality, and creating pathways to higher education for children from low-income families. He works closely with the local community. He's involved with various charities and run 5 marathons to raise funds for these organizations. In his professional capacity, Councillor Haq is a regional director at a leading education firm. His extensive experience and leadership skills make him an exemplary candidate for this role. Therefore, I strongly recommend Councillor Imam Haq for the position of Deputy Chair of the Council. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lakmanisha. Is that seconded?
Good evening, everyone. It gives me great pleasure to second the nomination for Imam Haq as Deputy Chair of Council. Many of you might not know that Imam and I come from the same city, Calcutta, in India, which has shaped both of us in similar ways when it comes to progressive politics, a commitment to public service, and above all, being tenacious. I have known Imam before he became a councillor in London when he was involved in organizing on progressive issues around secularism and democracy in India. And we hit off quite quickly, being fellow Bengalis, bonding on shared values. Imam, in his brief time in council, has been impressive. His commitment to social justice, working on the day-to-day ward issues, and being a champion for this borough is notable. I know this as I work closely with him and seen him fundraising for local causes. In this new civic role, I know he will stand up for fairness and being someone the residents of Newham can be proud of. He will serve this council with dignity. Onek obhinondon ar shubho kamona, Imam, and with this, I formally second Councillor Imam Haq.
Thank you, Councillor Hridash Gupta. Are there any further nominations? No. I will now ask the council to vote that Councillor Imam Haq is elected as Deputy Chair of the Council for London Borough of Newnham 2024 to 2025 municipal year. All those in favour, please raise your hand. All those against, please raise your hand. Any abstentions? Thank you. I declare that Councillor Imam Haq is hereby elected Deputy Chair of Council of the London Borough of Newnham for the 2024 to 2025 municipal year. Can I ask Councillor Imam Haq to come on the lectern to read and sign the acceptance of his form, please?
Hello everyone. I, Councillor Imam Haq, having been elected to the office of Deputy Chair of Council, hereby declare that I take the said office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfill the duties according to the best of my judgment and ability. Thank you. Good evening, everyone, once again. First of all, my deepest condolences to the 5-year-old who have passed away in a tragic accident. My prayers for the family and deepest condolences for the whole family and the community. I would like to thank first Councillor Lakmini for nominating and Rohit for seconding. I've known you for many years, so thank you very much. Thank you, Mayor, thank you, Chief Executive, thank you, Chair, and thank you the rest of the team over here. I would also like to thank all the members sitting over here for trusting me with this role, and I assure you that with the best of my ability and capacity, I will be fulfilling this role with dignity. So thank you very much, and thank you, and I'll be looking forward for all of your support as I always look for, and I come to my seniors whenever I need help, so thank you, my seniors, my co-colleagues. And I would like to also thank Councillor Shantu and Councillor Fahmy for being an amazing ward colleague. Whenever I need help, they're always there for me. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Councillor Imam Haq. I'm now moving to item 3, apologies for absence. I have received apologies for absence for this evening's meeting from Councillors Shasha Das Gupta, Mohammed Ghani, Joshua Garfield, Jane Lofthouse, Jamima McMullen, Mumtaz Khan, Tony Wilson. Are there any other apologies for absence from councillors to be recorded?
Chair, Stephanie Garfield.
Thank you, Stephanie Garfield.
Councillor Belgica.
Councillor Belgica, thank you.
Chair, also Councillor Salim Patel.
Councillor Salim Patel, thank you.
Chair, Councillor Sophia Naqvi.
Sophia Naqvi, thank you.
Apologies, Chair. Councillor Rachel Tripp as well.
Rachel Tripp, thank you.
Chair, Councillor Joshua Garfield. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Chair, I've got Mariam Darwood, Tony Wilson, Salim Patel, and Jane Lofthouse.
Thank you.
Caroline Corbyn.
Thank you, Jen. I'm now moving to item 4, declaration of interest. Are there any declaration of interest? No? I'm now moving to item 5, minutes of the last meeting held on the 18th March 2024, outlined on pages 9 to 22 on the agenda. I move as a correct record the minutes of the last ordinary meeting of the Council held on Monday, 18th March 2024. Do I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Keeling. All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those against, please raise your hands. Any abstentions? Agree the minutes. I'm now moving to item 6, announcement by the chair. My public engagement. I would like to inform the council that since last meeting of the council, I have attended 6 community engagement in role as a first citizen. The events date were 27th of March, 14th of April, 21st of April, 22nd of April, 25th of April, and 29th of April. Newnham General Hospital. I would like to recognize the refurbishment at Newnham General Hospital. During the last the municipal year, I had a personal experience of the improved facilities when I had a baby boy, and I would like to give thanks to our fabulous National Health Service, in particular the staff at the baby unit. Newnham Heritage Month and Windrush Day. I invite everyone to look at the programs on the council website, to take part in the wide variety of online and in-person events happening throughout June as part of Windrush Day and Newnham Heritage Month. I am now moving to item 7. Tribute to former Councillor Graham Lane. We were due to have a tribute to Mr. Lane this evening, but this has been deferred to the next meeting of the council in line with his family agreement. I'm now moving item 8, Mayor's speeches. I invite Mayor Roxana Fiers to address the council. You have up to 10 minutes.
Thank you very much, Chair, and congratulations on your re-election this municipal year, and also congratulations to Councillor Imam Haq as the Deputy Chair of Council. I'm looking forward to working with you both in your role, Chair, as the London Borough of Newnham's first citizen, and with the both of you as exemplary advocates of what's so amazing and beautiful about our wonderful Borough, Newham. Colleagues, as mentioned earlier, before the formal start of the annual council meeting this evening, we are meeting in the shadow of the death of 5-year-old Alim Makal Jibril, a week on from the painful memory of his tragic death in the early hours of last Thursday morning. And as we so beautifully heard, the eloquent recitation of the Holy Quran. As we mark his passing with a 1-minute silence earlier, I know that all here will have shared a collective sorrow at this heartbreaking tragedy and profoundly saddening loss. On behalf of all members here, everyone at the council, and no doubt all the people of our wonderful borough, my deepest condolences to Alim's family at what will have been an unimaginable time of hurt, trauma and grief. We are thinking too of friends of the family and neighbours at Jacob's house, as well as the wider community in Plaistow. I know from meeting residents over at Jacob's house, which is a council-owned high-rise estate in Plaistow, and members of the local community, both last Thursday and over the weekend, how much Alim's death has impacted them, and the shared grief and mourning that there is. And I pay tribute to the many acts of kindness neighbours and the community have shown as they support the family and each other at this saddest time. There is also disbelief that such a horrific accident could possibly happen, and many questions are rightly being asked. So, colleagues, this evening I wanted to first provide an update following the announcement last week that the Council had launched an investigation to reach the fullest possible understanding of what happened and establish the facts. Earlier today, I issued a statement with some more details about that investigation, which is being led by the Council's internal audit team. Internal audit in local government is legally required to be independent. They will conclude their investigation by the 12th of June, after which a further update will be provided by the Council and me. The internal audit team is presently looking at a number of issues as part of its investigation, including the management of the property in question over the past 2 years, an examination of records of all correspondence concerning windows specifically, as well as repairs and maintenance at the flat owned by the council. They will also examine any complaints received from Alam's family and review interaction with the family by the council's Housing Services Department. Additionally, the internal audit team will consider all contractors used, assess their qualifications and relevant safety accreditations, and examine whether the Housing Services Department followed the council's own policies of inspecting and assessing all work carried out after they were completed. Be assured that once the independent internal audit team completes its investigation, the council intends to make the findings public. Of course, prior to any publication, Alim's family will be given a copy of the report. All the while, the council will continue to support Alim's devastated family, as well as other families living in Jacob's House and the local community, as there is a profound sense of grief being experienced by so many, and we rightly need to support them in this moment of deep loss and pain. I will continue to ask questions of the council following the heartbreaking loss of Alam's life that no one would ever have wished for Alam and in his memory, for his family, and to ensure that any lessons that may need to be learned by the council will be. For me, as the Mayor of Newham, truth and justice must and will prevail, as I stand here and always as an advocate on behalf of all residents, particularly those most marginalised, without a voice, and those who are held back because of the colour of their skin, their gender, their sexuality, their age, or any aspect of their background. But reversing the decades of decline in our council estates and improving the way we manage our stock and carried out repairs is a core part of our response to the housing crisis we face. Not just building the genuinely affordable homes that Newham residents desperately need and can afford. I've made no secret of the scale of the challenge we faced or the deep-rooted, long-standing issues that we have had to tackle in the Housing Services Department. Way back, council homes had been outsourced to what was then known Newham Homes Almo. When I stepped into office, there was a legacy of underinvestment and maintenance problems. Would you believe, even some short 6 years ago, the repair service was still paper-based. There was no single housing directorate in the council, with responsibilities spread across 10 heads of service, with little join-up between different teams. There was no established ways to engage with residents themselves, no proper ways for the residents' voice to be heard. Member colleagues here were briefed last week on the inspection visit that has taken place here at the council this week by the government social housing regulation of the council's housing stock. We have been open and transparent with the regulators on the issues we face and the progress we still have to make. The regulators' report will be an important tool in our ongoing journey to improve our housing services to Newham as we build a fairer Newham and also improve the council. Chair, colleagues, will know that Newham faces an unprecedented homelessness challenge and crisis, and the cost of temporary accommodation has skyrocketed over the past 15 months. That is why we are building and delivering new homes that people can afford, and we are making great strides. We are amongst the top councils in the country for new council home starts as the country grapples with a housing crisis brought by a Tory government whose time really is up. Now that the general election has been called, Britain is ready for a fresh start. For instance, I'm pleased to announce that this autumn, the first phase of the ambitious Carpenters Estate restoration programme will kickstart with James Riley Point, which will benefit from a £3.28 million grant from Social Housing Decarbonisation Fund. It will be our first major retrofit scheme, leading to 136 high-quality social rent homes and a brand new community centre at the heart of a restored neighbourhood, too long neglected and where local residents had lost hope. Alongside new facade allowing for high levels of thermal insulation, every home will have an air source heat pump, meaning energy-efficient homes to support household finances as well.
You have 50 seconds.
The Council's retrofit first strategy on the Carpenters Estate, delivered by our wholly owned housing company, Popolo Living, will see the retention and upgrade of at least 40% of the existing homes on the estate, including the refurbishment of James Riley Point to Passive House standards as we advance our Just Transition climate action response. But temporary accommodation is still a challenge for us here at the Council. And Chair, if I may, can I have a little bit more time? Because the matters that I'm about to discuss are all important in the context of what comes up and the challenges that lie ahead.
I'll extend you 2 more minutes.
Thank you very much. So as I said, colleagues, temporary accommodation is still a raging challenge for us here at the Council. Many of you all know that Newham has some 6,500 households in temporary accommodation. That was the stat at the end of April 2024. But it's not just a stat, it's about lives. It's the highest proportion of residents in temporary accommodation in London. We've got one of the highest rates of overcrowding in the country, where 25% of Newham households are overcrowded, including homes with kids. That's why we need a change of government now, because it's created an extraordinary burden for the Council and it's not sustainable. At Council in March, we approved a balanced budget that, despite the financial challenges, invests, protects and improves the crucial services we provide for residents. A budget that continues to invest in making sure primary school children don't go to school hungry through our Eat for Free programme, a budget that protects our children's centres and youth services, such as the brand new Shipman Youth Zone. A budget that continues to invest in building new affordable Newham homes. You all know that councils in England face a massive, massive financial hole, a funding gap after years and years of austerity and cuts, the highest levels of inflation for 40 years, and increasing demand for services. So that we can continue to deliver the crucial services that residents need, we're going to need to change the way we do things at Newham. That means continuing a transformation journey to make sure we're an organisation that can deliver for our residents, taking a preventative approach to service design with services designed around the needs of our people who use them, taking a place-based visionary approach with greater collaboration with our local partners, better use of digital and technology to make it easier for residents to access services and find the information that they need easily. We will be bringing proposals to Cabinet in July on a new operating model for the Council and a 3-year MTFS, and how, in a leaner organisation, we can target our resources where they will have greatest impact on the services and outcomes we deliver for all of our residents, because this is an ambitious administration that wants to change the borough for the better, to build a fairer Newham where everyone is healthy, happy and well, where through community wealth building we build an inclusive economy where everyone has opportunity to thrive. Progress with the people, it's on our coat of arms. Progress for the people, because it's our duty to serve. Building a fairer Newham is our purpose, our mission. It's my ambition. That's not an overnight job. It's a generational transformation that will change forever this borough and the lives of everyone who lives here, because it's the people of Newham that make this borough so great. And I commit myself again to doing my best for them now and always, and especially in the year ahead. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm now moving to item 9, announced by the Chief Executive. I invite Abi Baga, Chief Executive, to make any announcement.
Thank you. Good evening, all. As you will all be aware, yesterday it was announced that there will be a general election taking place on the 4th of July. Last month, the Council supported the successful delivery of the GLA mayoral election. I just wanted to announce that we have the Council ready and we have started the preparations for another successful poll. I think many people take for granted how much work, dedication and planning go into making elections successful. So I just wanted to thank all the teams across the Council who worked on the GLA election and who are currently mobilising to deliver a successful 4th of July general election. And I especially wanted to thank the elections team, many who still have not slept, for their dedication and their hard work to ensure that we deliver good elections as an authority. Thank you.
Thank you, Abby. I'm now moving to item 10, the annual overview and scrutiny report outlined on pages 23 to 62 on your agenda. I call upon Councillor Anthony McCalmont as the chair of the Overview Scrutiny Committee to present the committee's annual report. Councillor McCalmont, you have up to 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. It is my pleasure and honor to present Overview and Scrutiny Annual Report for the municipal year 2023-24. Scrutiny has become more effective and relevant in its work. Our achievements are summarized within the Scrutiny Annual Report, which can be viewed online. And I should like to draw out some key achievements. These include influencing the Council's budget for 2024-25, where we highlight better spending options, highlighting concerns on proposed 59 million Victoria Street temporary accommodation building, making an important recommendation on the local plan, especially with regards to affordable housing, places of worship, and our policy on Muslim burial spaces, and our health and care systems' evolving capacity to address Newham expanding population. These are only some highlights, and there are many other examples where scrutiny is playing its constructive role. Scrutiny is an important functional part of the Council's governance arrangement. In wake of the Local Government Association Peer Review Challenge and Scrutiny and Executive Improvement Review, Scrutiny is committed to working collaboratively with the Mayor and Executive to deliver Council's priorities. Delivering the Council's priority is a shared endeavor for the whole Council, including Scrutiny and the Executive as a whole. Scrutiny will be holding the Executive as never before to its promises to deliver for the residents of Newham. In this municipal year, key challenges for the Council remain: a challenging financial landscape for services delivery and adherence to the Council's budget, and the financial pressure arising from temporary accommodation. We shall continue to provide effective scrutiny on these issues to ensure the Mayor and Executive manages its spending. The Council needs to improve its corporate culture to provide greater collaboration, trust, transparency, and governance to serve the residents of Newham. Scrutiny has a key role to play in this, part of which is the immediate review of scrutiny and executive protocol working arrangements. New scrutiny function is a dynamic and learning function of the Council. That is why we took the improvement review seriously and continue to undertake challenging scrutiny of the Council's budget and financial performances, amongst others. As a result of our work, the profile and relevance of overview and scrutiny in the Council has risen to an all-time high. As we continue to focus our attention on issues that matters to the people of Newham. As Chair, it is my ambition and intent to lead Overview and Scrutiny Committee in a way that will maximize its impact, thus resulting in improved services, better financial management, and ensure that the Mayor and Cabinet deliver better services for residents, underpinned by effective and constructive accountability to make real and sustainable difference to the lives of the people of Newham, the people that elect us to serve them. Chair, I commend the Scrutiny Annual Report to this Council. Thank you.
Thank you. That is noted. Now I'm moving to item 11, Chair of Standards Committee Annual Report, which is a verbal report. I call upon Raja Chowdhury, the independent chair of the Standards Committee, to present annual update on the work of the committee. Raja Chowdhury, you have up to 5 minutes.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to give you an update of the work of the Standards Advisory Committee and the overview of the work taken by us in the previous municipal year and the year ahead. The committee performs a number of functions to support members in maintaining high standards of conduct in public life, consistent with the nonal principles of selflessness, integrity, objectivity, accountability, openness, honesty, and leadership. These functions include promoting the members' code of conduct and other protocols, considering complaints of a breach of the code and making recommendations to the Council's ethical governance arrangements with the provision of training and support for members. Now, the composition of the membership of the committee consists of 4 councillors from the majority group, i.e. the Labour group, and 1 councillor from the Newham Independence group. There are 5 independent members, and the committee currently has a vacancy for an independent member. The process to recruit a new member will be progressed as soon as possible. During the 2023-24 municipal year, the committee held meetings in July, November 23, January, and April this year. And the topics that we considered are as follows: the Standards Advisory Committee proposed work program, the ethical framework update, which include update on declarations of interest declared by the mayor and members at meetings, gifts and hospitality declared by the mayor and members. And as part of the work of the committee, a proposed new code of conduct was the subject of consultation with the council's political groups, and I'm happy to say that the new code was adopted by you all on the 16th of October last year. Following on from the adoption of this code, the committee has considered new arrangements for handling code of conduct complaints against members. The code of conduct, the complaints procedure, has been considered in line with the guidance issued by the LGA on the member model code of conduct complaints handling, and we hope that it will soon be brought by you all for approval. The committee also dealt with a number of issues relating to the issues of conduct, behavior, and culture at the authority, and as such, will be reviewing the LGA peer review action plan recently published and the work that has been undertaken to date. Onto the future of the work of the committee. One, there will be the member training program, and following concerns raised by us as a committee, particularly around the relevance of and better targeting of member training, officers have undertaken work on the development of a new program and will be presenting an update to the committee at our first meeting in the new municipal year. Two, the Council's ethical framework, and as I have previously advised the Council as a committee, we regularly review the interest that members declare at meetings and any gifts and hospitality registered by members. In order to protect your position and the reputation of the authority, you should all exercise caution in accepting any gifts or hospitality which you reasonably believe to be offered to you because of your role as a councillor. The committee has noted the gifts and hospitality received in the last municipal year and has asked the monitoring officer to remind all members to ensure that declarations are received within the required timeframes. Three, culture and behaviour. You will appreciate that as councillors, it is important that you can be held accountable and all adopt the behaviours and responsibilities associated with your role. As stated, the committee will be looking into issues relating to conduct, behaviour and culture at the authority, and discussions of these matters will form a standing item at our meetings. These matters and the revision of the Constitution will be at the forefront of the committee's agenda as it continues to consider complaints against members and make recommendations in respect of the Council's ethical governance framework. And lastly, I want to pay tribute to the tireless work that goes behind the scenes when we sit as a committee. In particular, I pay tribute to the outgoing interim monitoring officer and his team. I'm not going to name them all because I'll be here perhaps another extra 15 minutes, but I'm very grateful to them, and on behalf of our committee, we are grateful to them as well. That is my report.
Thank you, Raja Chaudhry. That is noted. I'm now moving to item 13, political proportionality and allocation of the seats on committee appointments and other related matters. My apology. Thank you. Thank you. Now I'm moving to item 12, annual report of the audit committee outlined on pages 63 to 70 on your agenda. I call upon Fiona Marsh, the independent chair of the audit committee, to present the annual update on the work of the audit committee. Fiona Marsh, you have up to 5 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Fiona Marsh. I'm the independent chair of the audit committee. You will have seen the report within the papers. The audit committee plays a critical role in governance, risk management, internal controls, and we've asked that the council note the contents of the report, and you will see that we've considered a wide range of areas to focus on through the year. The committee has worked hard. We've had a new member from the Green Party, and we've had a vacancy for an independent member, and we are currently in the recruitment process, hoping to conclude next month. I'm not feeling 100%, so I'm not going to spend a long time talking, but you can see from the report the work that we've been involved in. I'd ask all colleagues, officers and members to support the work of the Audit Committee when you're attending the Audit Committee, to come prepared to answer questions and providing supporting evidence so that you give the committee assurance and the Audit Committee is able to give assurance that the controls and risk framework within the Council is functioning appropriately. I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you, Fiona. That is noted. I'm now moving to item 13, political proportionality and allocation of the seats on committees, appointments and other related matters. This report is as attached in the order paper and details on the nominations for the Council's various committees and boards. I call upon Councillor Islam to move the report to report. You have up to 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. Chair and fellow council members, good evening. It is an honor to be here with you all as we address the crucial task of committee seat allocation, a process as vital to our council seat allocation, vital to a council effective functioning as a well-oiled machine. Today I present the details for item 13, political proportionality and allocation seats on committees, appointments and other related matter. For those interested, the comprehensive details can be found on pages 71 to 79 of the agenda. Please note that there have been updates to Appendix 1 with the revised version now included alongside Appendix 2 and 3 on the order paper. Additionally, as highlighted earlier by the Chair of Council, our scrutiny commissions are due for a remaining session which will be discussed at the next overview and scrutiny meeting. The outcomes of this discussion will be reported at our next full council meeting. Chair, I have endeavoured to ensure our committee reflects a political diversity, aiming for a balance as fine as my attempts at baking, sometimes achieving perfect harmony and other times resulting in delightful chaos, but always with the best of intention. This diversity is crucial for our decision-making process, bringing in varied perspectives that enrich our community. Chair, I would also like to take this opportunity to thank and recognise the efforts and guidance provided by our monitoring officer, Satish Mistry, and the lead officer of Democratic Services, Akhtar Ali. Their support has been invaluable in navigating this complex process, ensuring we adhere to our principles of fairness and transparency. I trust we can all rally behind this proposal, demonstrating our commitment to serving our community with fairness and dedication. By supporting this report, we affirm our dedication to moving forward together as one cohesive council. Thank you, Chair. Let us proceed in support of this report, moving forward together as one council. I hereby move the proposal forward.
Thank you, Councillor Islam. Do I have a seconder, please?
Madam Chair, I formally second this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. We have received name members from the Greens, and this will be published after the meeting. Is that agreed? Thank you. We now move to debate. Does anyone wish to speak? No, that's fine. Councillor Islam, you have right to reply. Should you wish to say anything further? Councillor Islam, you have right to reply. Do you wish to say anything further?
There is no.
I waive my reply. Can we just proceed to a vote, please?
Thank you. We'll now move to the vote. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Thank you. All those against, please raise your hands. Any abstentions? Thank you. That is carried out. I'm now moving to item 14, calendar of meetings 2024 to 2025, outlined on pages 81 to 98 on your agenda. The calendar was published before the calling the general election, and the June committee dates will be revisited to see if any businesses can be deferred to, and deferred on the 4th of July cabinet date will be reconsidered, and a notification sent to all councillors. Please note a correction on page 84 relating to the 26th of June 2024 for the standard committee. The correct date is 5th of June 2024. Please discard 26th of June date as this has been reserved for the internal business potential members training. With an amendment, I move the recommendation in the report. Do I have a seconder, please? Thank you. We have now to debate. Does any members wish to debate? Thank you. We'll now move to the vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. All those against, please raise your hand. Any abstentions? Thank you. That is carried out. I'm now moving to item 15, appointments by the mayor of outside bodies. This report is attached to the order paper. I will now call upon Mayor Fiaz to confirm the appointments made by the mayor. Do I have any seconder, please?
I'll second.
Thank you. We now move to debate. Does any members wish to speak? Thank you. We'll now move to the vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. All those against, please raise your hands. Any abstentions? Thank you. That is carried out. I'm now moving to item 16, Constitution Review, which is outlined on the supplementary agenda pack 1. Council, I have received an amendment from the Green Group, which is attached to the order paper. The amendment is in 14 parts. We will consider the amendment first, which, if carried, will become the substantive motions. I call upon Councillor Higgins to move the amendment. Councillor Higgins, you have up to 3 minutes to present your amendment.
Thank you, Chair, and congratulations on your election. Chair, as this is 14 amendments that I'm trying to move as one, can I have 4 minutes instead of 3? Is that okay?
Sorry, Knight, just give me 1 minute. Thank you.
Just forgive us. The mayor just needs to move the report itself, yeah, in a second.
I call upon Mayor to move the report.
Thank you very much, Chair. Colleagues, just to explain what's just happened there, in terms of the Council's procedure, what ordinarily happens is the substantive motion as set out in the report needs to be moved first, and then the amendments, if there are any, relating to any report are then subsequently taken, and then subject to the outcome of the amendments debate and any votes, we come back to the substantive report either as was or as amended. So I just wanted to clarify that for colleagues in the room, but also members of the public. And can I just say thank you very much for attending this evening, because at the heart of our Constitution and the report before members tonight on matters relating to council procedure, it's really important, albeit it may come across as quite a dry and boring topic of discussion. And it isn't actually. It goes to the very fabric and heart of our democracy and the living, breathing democracy that we practice here in Newham. And we've heard during the course of this evening the remarkable things the people that are elected can be doing, the transformation drive that people that stand for election want to be charging with, because they want to change the world or save lives and make Newham a better place for all of our residents. And this report relates to a review of the Constitution that I announced back at the annual council meeting in 2022. It's been quite a journey. There's been a little detours There's been quite a lot of angst, but I'm really pleased that we are progressing with a really important deliberative process to consider our constitution so that it's fit for purpose for the 21st century. And I wanted to make a comment relating to a word that's been bandied around this evening, good governance ethics. At the heart of all of these things is a solid foundation of a constitution, but a constitution doesn't remain static. It's ever evolving. It's a living, breathing document that we as elected representatives, yes, with an eye to the Code of Conduct and the Nolan Principles, take very seriously, because it sets out how we do the business of democracy in this borough. And especially in this era and this age of conflict, of lies, of AI-generated political content, where audio recordings can be stitched together or someone's face plastered on a computer-generated image to make it look real. This is why constitutions and council procedures are really important. No doubt you'll hear in the debates around the amendments stuff or guff about, oh, this is undemocratic. Let me tell you this. Since 2018, at the core of what we've been doing under my administration is an ethical way of running a local authority, cleaning up the council, which for too long had been unclean, and elevating the importance of ethics, good practice at every single part of the council, including all of its committees, because no one is immune to practicing and operating with integrity, with courtesy, with respect, and understanding the intersections of race, gender, identity, and how all of us as human beings carry unconscious bias, which we may be blind to. And that's the reason why the constitutional review was announced by me back in May 2022, because I want a constitution that's fit for purpose for this borough at this point in the 21st century. And the procedural rules, albeit they may seem dry and boring, and talk about the minutiae of every second or every minute, or how many people are allowed to speak, or who moves what first, it is important, because we do need a systemized, organized approach. Otherwise, what will happen is some of the stuff that we've seen in this chamber, the rabble, the shouting, the screaming, under the guise of democracy and freedom of expression. No, it's hate. So I look forward to the debate around the amendments. And please, my friends in the public gallery, listen intently, watch, because you all are holding us to account. We need your testimonies out there to tell our people in Newham that we're doing things fairly, ethically, and right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Roxana Fiers. Do I have a seconder, please? Thank you. Council, I have received an amendment from the Green Group, which is attached on the order paper. The amendment is in 14 parts. I call upon Councillor Higgins to move the amendment and move the suspensions of Council Procedures Rules 17 and 18 to allow Councillor Higgins up to 4 minutes to speak. Do everyone agree to allow 14 minutes? 4 minutes. Apologies. I'm finishing the item agenda very soon. I know we all are tired and it's quite hot environment here. So I will ask council members to agree for 4 minutes. Is that agreed?
Agreed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I'm not sure even I want to listen to myself for 14 minutes.
No,
thank you. And congratulations on your re-election. And thank you, Mayor, for bringing this constitutional review. I actually agree with essentially every word you just said. And so thank you for that. And I hope that's the spirit in which these 14 amendments, and I do apologise for the number of them, are taken today. Today we are presented with a pivotal opportunity to reshape the way our council operates, ensuring it better reflects the diversity and democratic principles we all stand for. The constitutional review, kicked off 2 years ago, promised an opportunity to build a governance system fit for the multi-party council we had become after the election of Newham's first ever Green councillors. Our monitoring officer rightly brought in an independent lawyer to carry out the review in consultation with all parties, and things looked promising. But his draft, provided to the council in September, has been locked away as a closely guarded secret. Requests to share this document with councillors have been repeatedly denied, and freedom of information requests have been refused. Why? Why aren't you allowed to see the proposals of an impartial independent lawyer? Not even the Constitutional Working Group were allowed to see it. This lack of transparency has diluted rules to the advantage of the administration, of whichever party happens to be in power, sidelining the essential voices of the opposition and the residents we represent. Measures the independent lawyer thought were essential for a modern cross-party constitution have been stripped out behind closed doors, hidden from public scrutiny. That's why we call for the immediate publication of the original draft, to provide full transparency and to allow councillors to make informed decisions based on unbiased advice. There is no good reason to block this. Full council is an opportunity for residents to hold us all accountable for the work being done in their name, and residents must be allowed to hear all perspectives. That's why we are proposing measures to ensure all parties can propose motions and speak on issues that matter to those we represent. The current draft seeks to reduce the number of questions councillors can ask. With the insistence on themed meetings, that means councillors will only have 4 opportunities each year to choose the issues on which they want to ask a question. We can't support that. That's why we're also proposing scrapping these themed meetings. If the administration wants to hold public meetings on topics they choose, they can already do so. This is simply a mechanism to control the topics councillors can raise at full council, and we believe that is wrong. By having a chair and vice chair from different parties and scrutiny chaired by an opposition councillor, we can guarantee that council proceedings are conducted impartially, promoting more balanced, mature and representative governance. These amendments are about creating a council that is more democratic, more transparent and more responsive to the needs of all of its members and the residents we represent. By proposing the amendments, we are taking a stand against the dilution of proposals that would otherwise enhance the representation and influence of opposition parties in this chamber. Colleagues, I urge you to support these amendments. Let us move forward, move towards a future where our council procedures embody the principles of fairness, inclusivity and accountability. Together, we can ensure that every voice in Newham is heard and respected. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Haggin. Is there any seconder? Councillor Keeling.
Colleagues, I stand before you to second the proposed amendments, which are critical to the future of our council's democratic integrity. These amendments are not mere procedural changes. They represent a fundamental shift towards a more inclusive and transparent council that truly reflects the diverse voices of Newham. The current council procedures, as shaped by the majority party, fail to provide adequate representation for opposition parties. This undermines the principle of democracy and limits our ability to effectiveness and effectively serve our residents. The amendments we propose are essentially to correct this imbalance and ensure that all political groups have a fair and meaningful role in council proceedings. At the heart of our amendments is the call for transparency. By publishing the lawyer's original draft, we can bring clarity and accountability to the process. It is essential that we as councillors have access to the unbiased legal advice that underpins our procedures. This transparency is the bedrock of trust and good governance. Our amendments also advocate for shared leadership within the council by ensuring that the chair and vice chair roles are held by members from different political groups. We can foster a more balanced and impartial leadership. This will help to prevent any single party from dominating the proceedings and will encourage more collaborative and fair decision-making. These amendments also strengthen the processes for questioning and motions, ensuring that all councillors have the opportunity to hold the council to account and contribute to the debate. This is vital for a functioning democracy where diverse perspectives can be heard and considered. In essence, these amendments are about ensuring that our council procedures are fair, transparent, and inclusive. They're about stopping the dilution of proposals that would enhance the representation and influence of opposition parties. They're about building a council that truly serves the interests of all its residents. Colleagues, supporting these amendments is a step towards a more democratic and effective council. Let us work together to ensure that every voice in this chamber is heard and valued. I urge you to support these amendments and help us create a council that is fair, transparent, and representative of all the people of Newham.
Thank you, Councillor Keeling. We will now move to the debate on the Green Group amendment. Does anyone wish to speak? Councillor Rita Chada.
Thank you, Chair. I wasn't planning to be here, so do correct me if I err on anything that's inappropriate. The Greens make some arguments, but sadly they're not valid. And the reason for that is because they have been part of the Constitutional Working Group. They have been part of a collective spirit that this council has already invited them in to actually be part of this discussion. We talk about transparency. What's more transparent than allowing your opponents to be part of the debate? And that is in the spirit in which we have conducted the Constitutional Working Group discussions. May I turn to each of the amendments and address them in turn?
Yeah.
Thank you. So on the first one, we propose to reject the release of the independent solicitor's opinion. The reason we do that is because actually we're continuing the discussion. Sorry. No. On Amendment 2, the party keeps on insisting that in a democracy they should be allowed to speak more. They should be allowed to speak in proportion to what their share of the vote. And whether they like it or not, they'll have to wait until 2026, if they're lucky, to get that mandate. Because at the moment, the majority group is the Labour Party, and that's the way it is at the moment. So we propose to reject Amendment 2. On Amendment 3, surprisingly, Councillor Higgins, we actually agree with you on this, and we actually would refer back to the Constitutional Working Group minutes where it was agreed that this action would take place. On Amendment 4, the notion of themed meetings, Amendment 4 and Amendment 5 are linked. We would reject this at the moment, but we would ask for this to be a fuller discussion at the Constitutional Working Group. Amendment 6. Now, there is an issue here about us as councillors curbing our power and privilege and having the opportunity for members, the number of us that are here, to each ask 2 questions. It's going to make for some extra long meetings, and I don't think that's in anybody's interest. 1 member, 1 question is as fair and appropriate as we can be, and that includes the minority parties. Group Amendment number 7, it's rather strange asking us, when there's a call for democracy, actually asking us to vote without a discussion on some motions. Now that can't be right. That's not democratic. That's not transparent. So we would propose to reject that motion. Amendment 8. Now, I think there is one of the challenges with the current constitution is
it's very difficult. And members of the audience, my apologies for having my back towards you. But what I will say is, even as councillors, we struggle with the existing documentation. There is a reason why it needs to be simplified, it needs to be clearer, so that our residents can actually engage in it and use it to their good effect as well, which I'm sure the Greens would agree with. So it actually makes no difference. Thank you. Amendment 9 is how the rules already work. Amendment 10 is, again, we propose to reject because there is no democratic mandate on this context. Amendment 11, now again, this is about power and privilege. If we don't ask members of the gallery, we ask members of the gallery to refrain from carrying whistles, banners and flags. We should be part of the residents of Newham, and we should not do that as well. Amendment 12, again, no democratic mandate. Amendment 13, we suggest this is just a clarification, and we accept that any observers to committee meetings do not count as part of the quorum. And finally, you'll be relieved to know, Amendment 14, we propose to reject this in line with the fact that there is no democratic mandate.
Thank you. We'll now... Yes.
Thanks for that, Councillor Chadha. That was actually very impressive. So thank you. On Amendment 7, there's just a clarification that needs to be made about this. The reason for this is because this is inconsistent with another clause in the Constitution, and I wanted to provide clarity. Another clause in the Constitution says that when we reach the end of a meeting, all items left will be voted on without debate. That's a clause that's within the Constitution. And then this clause says that when we get to if motions aren't reached, that they're resubmitted. I wanted clarity. That's why that's amendment.
Thank you. Councillor James Arthur, would you like to speak?
I wasn't going to, but I might as well, because I've sat on the bloody thing. I once told the Greens I thought they were disingenuous, and they got upset. But frankly, I think this shows it, disingenuous and cynical. You cannot sit on a working group, working collaboratively across three parties, and then turn around and put a whole load of amendments, some of which you've agreed you weren't supporting in the first place. You've just kind of sat there and ignored much of the discussion and then brought this anyway. It is being dressed up as an exercise in pure-of-heart democracy. It ain't anything. It's usual, cynical politicking to get an advantage. Councillor Higgins, you told us in the meeting that you don't represent the Olympic Park, you represent the whole borough, because everyone who votes Green, you have to represent them because they didn't elect any other councillors anywhere else. This is how democracy works. If you wish to have more Green councillors, you have to get people to vote for them. You didn't manage that. That's why there was only 2 of you. Welcome to the democratic process. And I'm really sorry. But to then turn around and claim that changes to things to try and get round that difficulty in the ballot box is a pure-of-heart political process. I know the Greens of old. I've seen it before. When they're telling you this is about pure democracy, watch what the other hand's doing, because it bloody well ain't.
Thank you, Councillor James Arthur. We'll now move to vote on the Green Group amendment. I did ask people who raised their hand. I have given the opportunity. Have you raised your hand? You have now. So would you wish to speak? Yeah, come.
Thank you, Chair. Congratulations on your second term election for the chair of this council. And I've taken this opportunity to condolences for Ahmed Makhail, who died last Thursday, a week ago. And Newham Independence stands with the family and welcome the investigations from the audit committee from the Newham Thank you. Coming back to the amendments, we did not send the amendments, but we support the Greens amendments. What I was going to say, there was a, yes, three-party involvement, but it was just a tick-box exercise. None of the amendments was given in that meetings been included. I think we not learned anything from the peer review. We're still doing the same thing. We're sidelining the people. Council saying, oh, you're only the two people. No, they're not. The demographics of Newham is changing. You will see the next election. The election, people will refuse your Labour Party. People will be voting against the Labour Party. It's not. Thank you, Chair. I support this amendments. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mahmood Mirza.
Can we move straight to the vote, Chair?
Thank you. We'll now move to vote on the Green Group amendment. Each part of the amendment must be voted on separately, and therefore we will consider each amendment as follows. Page 1 to 14, the amendments part 1 is to insert a new recommendation 2.2 to the report. All those in favor of the Green Group amendment part 1, please raise your hand. All those against, please raise your hand. Any abstentions? Part 1 is carried out. Oh, sorry, not carried. Part 2 of 14, the amendment part 2 is to amend Appendix 1, 1.2a and 1.2b. All those in favor, please, for the Green Group amendment part 2, please raise your hand. All those against, please raise your hand. Any abstentions? Not carried out. Part 2. All those in favor, Green Group amendment part 3, please raise your hand. All those against, please raise your hand. Any abstentions? Part 3 is not carried. Sorry, carried. Sorry, I've seen so many hands, but I was still confused. Part 3 is carried. Page 4 of 14, the amendment part 4 is not amended. All those in favor, Green Group amendment part 4, please raise your hand. All those against, please raise your hand. So part 4 is not carried. All those in favor of Green Group's amendment part 5, please raise your hand. All those against, please raise your hand. Any abstentions? Part 5 is not carried. All those in favor of the Green Group amendments part 6, please raise your hand. All those against, please raise your hand. Any abstentions? Part 6 not carried. All those in favor of the Green Group amendment part 7, please raise your hand. All those against, please raise your hand. Any abstentions? Part 7 is not carried. Part 8, all those in favor of the Green Group amendment part 8, please raise your hand. All those against, please raise your hand. Any abstentions? Part 8 is not carried. All those in favor of the Green Group amendment part 9, please raise your hand. All those against, please raise your hand. Any abstentions? Part 9 is not carried. All those in favor of the Green Group amendments part 10, please raise your hand. All those against, please raise your hand. Any abstention? Part 10 is not carried. All those in favor of Green Group amendment part 11, please raise your hand. All those against, please raise your hand. Any abstentions? Part 11 is not carried. All those in favor of the Green Group amendment part 12, please raise your hand. All those against, please raise your hand. Any abstentions? Part 2 is not carried. Sorry, Part 12 is not carried. All those in favor of the Green Group Amendment Part 13, please raise your hand. All those against, please raise your hand. Any abstentions? Part 13 is carried out. All those in favor of the Green Group Amendment Part 14, please raise your hand. All those against, please raise your hand. Any abstentions? Part 14 is not carried. We now move back to the substantive motions. Does any members wish to speak? Mayor Fiaz, you have right to reply should you wish to say anything further. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you very much, Chair. Yes, I do want to take up my right to reply because I listened to the debate on the amendments, and there are some really important things that I want to emphasise. We have the liberty and the freedom to vote in this country, and we have a country with a parliamentary system, and we have a representative democracy system in this country, and local authority that is informed by the Localism Act and the Local Government Act and various other legal provisions have been put in place in order to ensure that at local government level there is at least mechanisms to stop the demagogues and the anti-democrats and those who choose to lie and pretend, who want to harm, who want to cover up their true intent. And let me tell you this, colleagues, we will be the most fastidious defenders of democracy, and we will not allow for our democracy to be undermined through the back door, because that's exactly what was being proposed through the amendments under the guise of, oh, it's not fair. And as was stated, every single political party or political group achieves a result in the ballot box. And it is not fair, and it is not democratic for 5 individuals to ride roughshod on the democratic mandate of 60 Labour councillors, many of whom are in this room, and the democratic mandate of a directly elected mayor, because that is the governance model that the people of Newham chose at a referendum. And respect democracy, because otherwise you are throwing it back in the face of our residents, and that is not right. Thank you. I want to conclude by drawing attention to the recommendations in this report. There are 3 on page 3 of the supplementary agenda, and I'd like to specifically draw attention to 2.1c. Note that the Constitution Working Group, with its current membership, chaired by the Mayor, will continue to meet to consider the remaining sections of the Constitution and annually meet, that is, for light touch reviews. That is not a recommendation to shut people out. That is fairness. That is bringing you on the table, round the table. It's not a tick box exercise. This is really important stuff. Please do not come to this chamber and diminish our democracy.
Thank you. We'll now move to the vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. All those against, please raise your hands. Any abstentions? Thank you. That is carried out. I'm now moving to item 17, attendance of meetings, authority to exempt, which is outlined in the supplementary agenda pack 1. I call upon Councillor Islam to move to the report. You have up to 5 minutes to present the report.
Chair, can I move the report formally?
Do I have a seconder, please?
And I second the report.
Thank you, Jenny. We now move to the debate. Does any members wish to speak? Thank you. Councillor Islam, do you have right to reply should you wish to speak?
Chair, I waive the reply. Can we move straight to the vote, please?
Thank you. We'll now move to the vote. All those in favor, raise your hand. Thank you. All those against, please raise your hand. Any abstentions? Thank you. That is carried out. Thank you, everyone, for attending and watching, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of the evening. No, I've done that. Yeah. Sorry, can members and their guests remain seated to allow the public to leave the building? Yeah.
Could we ask the public to leave, please?
But the guest of Deputy Chair and my guest can be seated, and other guests can be seated.